Hey there, CJ Math students, and welcome to Homework 2.5. This is a preview homework because it's the first time we're doing it together. Let's read the instructions. It says, find each product, look to cross-cancel when possible, make sure to show all work, and simplify your answers. So for number 1, we're asking ourselves, do 12 and 3 or 4 and 7 have any numbers in common? And the answer is yes. 12 and 3 both have 3 in common. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, 12 by 3 is 4. And then I multiply straight across, and I get 16 over 7. And you're like, wait a second, 16 over 7 is not there? Obviously, because that's an improper fraction. 7 goes in 16 2 times, with 2 left over. So 2 and 2/7. A is your answer. I would pause the video if I were you right now and try and do number 2, just like I've done number 1. Number 3, ask yourself, do 10 and 14 or 1 and 7 have anything in common? And yes, they do. 14 can be divided by 2, 10 can be divided by 2. So then I go ahead and multiply straight across, and when I do that, I get my answer of 5 over 14. That's totally simplified. Oh, sorry. This is messed up, my fault. 14 divided by 2 is 7, not 2. And so I get my answer of 5 over 49. So A is my answer. I would pause the video and try and do number 4 if I were you right now. Number 5, ask yourself, 11 and 11, 16 and 14. Well, 11 and 11 can both be divided by 11, so that becomes 1, that becomes 1, and then 16 and 14 can both be divided by 2. 16 divided by 2 is 8, 14 divided by 2 is 7. So I multiply straight across, I get my answer of 8 over 7. 8 over 7 obviously isn't my answer because it's improper. So I ask myself, how many times does 7 go into 8? 1 time, with 1 left over. So 1 and 1/7. Number 7, 4 and 14 and 5 and 11. Well, 4 and 14 can both be divided by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2, 14 divided by 2 is 7. Multiply straight across. I get my answer of 10 over 77, and that is totally simplified. B is my answer. Again, I would pause the video right now if I were you and try and make sure you do all the evens, show the work just like I've shown. Backside, it says find each quotient. Remember, when we find a quotient, we're going to flip the second fraction first, then look to cross-cancel and simplify your answer. So flip first, then cross-cancel. That's the important piece right there. So on 7 over 6 divided by 1/14, this division sign should be a big alert sign for you to flip your second fraction first. So 7 over 6 times 14 over 1. Now I can look to cross-cancel, and obviously 6 and 14 can both be divided by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3, 14 divided by 2 is 7. When I multiply straight across, I get 49 over 3. Obviously that's not my answer because it's an improper fraction, so 3 can go into 49 how many times? 3 can go into 4 1 time. That's 3 with 1 left over. Bring down my 9. 3 can go into 19 6 times. That's 18 with 1 left over. So my answer is 16 with 1 left over and 1/3. B. It's a lot of work. If I were you, I'd pause, rewind, make sure I understand it, and then try and do number 10. Number 11, 5 and 3, 1 and 8. Before you say there's nothing to cross-cancel, make sure you flip your fraction. That division sign should be an automatic signal to you to flip. So 5 over 3 times 8 over 1. Now ask yourself, is there anything I can cross-cancel? And it happens to be, no, there's nothing I can't. So multiply straight across, I get 40 over 3. Obviously that's not my answer because 3 can go into 40. 3 goes into 4 1 time, with 1 left over. Bring down your 10. 3 goes into 10 3 times, with 1 left over. So it's 13 and 1/3. For number 13, again, before you say there's nothing to cross-cancel, flip your second fraction. So I have 1/14 times 10 over 1. And then 10 and 14 I can both divide by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5, 14 divided by 2 is 7. When I multiply straight across, I get 5 over 7. 1 times 5 is 5, 7 times 1 is 7. Again, if you're getting confused, pause, rewind the video, rewatch, try an even problem on your own. 6/7. Flip 6 over 7. So we get 3 over 4 times 7 over 6. Now I look to cross cancel. 3 and 6 can obviously both be simplified, or cross canceled, sorry. Divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Multiply straight across. I get 7 over 8. 4 times 2 is 8, right? D. Alright, for your word problems, number 17. It says, presidents by 2005 had 42 men had been president of the United States. Of these men, 2 out of 21 had no children. How many had no children? So basically you're trying to say 2 over 21, oops, sorry about that. 2 over 21 of 42 presidents, right? So this is a multiplication problem, right? 2 out of 21, how do I change a whole number into a mixed number? Just put it over 1. And now I ask myself, all right, is there anything in common? Actually, yes, there is. 42 and 21 both have 21 in common, so that's a tricky one. But then when I multiply straight across, I get 4 over 1. So that means 4 presidents had no children whatsoever. All right. Number 19. It says the average ant is 1/4 inch long. The average aphid is 3 3/2 inch long. How many times longer is the average ant than the average aphid? So if we have an average inch that's 1/4 inch long and the average aphid is 3 32 inch long, how many times longer, right, is the average inch than the average aphid? So we're actually going to go ahead and divide on this problem. So we're going to go ahead and say 1/4 divided by 3 over 32 here, right? Because if I figure out what this answer is, then that answer times 3 over 32 will give me 1/4, which will tell us how many times larger the average ant is. So we flip this. We'll say 1/4 times 32 over 3. We can go ahead and cross cancel this. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 32 divided by 4 is 8. So we get 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 3 is 3. As a mixed number, that goes in there 2 times, which is 6 with 2 left over. 2 and 2/3 inches longer. Right? So let's actually talk about this one tomorrow in class. I think I might have messed you up on it. For number 18 and 19, it says area here. Area is just length times width, so you're going to take the length times the width. I'll let you figure that out. And then if I give you the area and a length, what must be the width? That's actually division. So 27 over 1 divided by this needs to be changed into an improper fraction. So we'll talk about this tomorrow, actually. Divided by 9 over 2. So I'll let you work both of those. That's it. Call me if you have questions.